Okay, imagine this for a moment. A man is suffering, I mean really suffering, so intensely it feels like someone's twisting his head with a sharp sword, or crushing it like with a super tight leather strap.
It's incredibly visceral language.
And then it changes, it feels like a butcher is just carving open his belly. And finally, the horror of being held over this pit of blazing coals, just burning, tormented.
These aren't metaphors in the usual sense, are they? These are the actual words he used.
Exactly. These are the words of Anāthapiṇḍika, who was, well, a really prominent and frankly incredibly wealthy householder back in ancient India, describing how he felt in his final days.
It's just a raw, unvarnished description of agony straight from the source text.
Yeah.
Anāthapiṇḍika was clearly pushed to his absolute limit.
And that's really what we're digging into today. Our mission, let's say, for this deep dive is to explore this specific ancient Buddhist text, the Anāthapiṇḍikovādasuttaṃ. And we want to uncover the profound, maybe even surprising, spiritual advice that one of the Buddha's main disciples, Venerable Sariputta, gave him.
Yeah, what Sariputta actually said in that moment.
Exactly. And what that teaches us, about facing suffering, about finding liberation, even when your body is just completely failing you.
And our main source here, it's really just this single ancient Pali text. It's an excerpt from the Majjhima Nikaya, the middle-length discourses.
So it gives us this incredibly direct, powerful window into this exchange.
It really does.
Okay, so get ready. We're diving into some pretty profound insights here, connecting this ancient wisdom to, well, the universal human experience of pain, and revealing some, I think, genuinely unexpected truths about spiritual practice and maybe how accessible it really is, no matter what you're going through.
Yeah, that accessibility point is key.
Okay, let's set the scene properly. We're in Savatthi, specifically at the Jetavana Monastery.
Which Anāthapiṇḍika himself actually built and donated, right?
Yeah.
He was known for his incredible generosity.
That's the one. He built it for the Buddha and the whole monastic community, a huge act of devotion. But now, this revered figure, this generous householder, is terribly ill. Painfully ill.
The text uses words like afflicted, suffering, severely ill. It paints a stark picture.
And it's important to remember his status, isn't it? He wasn't just some average follower.
No, not at all. He was like a pillar of the lay community.
Yeah.
Hugely respected, incredibly wealthy. Yet here he is facing this fundamental human reality, extreme physical pain.
Pain that no amount of money or status could just wish away.
Exactly. It's a full-body assault he's describing.
In his words, they really drive that point home. He tells Sariputta straight up, his pain is overpowering.
And getting worse.
Increasing, not decreasing. And then those analogies we started with. Like a strong man twisting my head with a sharp sword.
Or the tight leather strap crushing his head.
Then that internal agony. Like a skilled butcher cutting open my belly with a sharp butcher's knife. And finally, that burning torment. Like two strong men seizing a weaker man and burning and tormenting him over a pit of coals.
That level of graphic detail, it really underscores how relentless and just escalating his suffering was. He's at a point where, physical comfort just isn't really on the table anymore.
He sounds like he's truly at his breaking point.
Absolutely.
So in this state, what does he do? He sends a messenger. First to the Buddha, actually.
Yeah.
Then specifically requests Venerable Sariputta.
Right, asking him to come visit out of compassion. It's a plea.
And Sariputta, along with Venerable Ananda, who often accompanied the senior monks, they go pretty much straight away to Anāthapiṇḍika's home.
Yeah, the text implies a prompt response.
So Sariputta arrives. Now, I imagine most people, maybe even those familiar with Buddhist ideas, might expect, some words of comfort.
Or maybe some specific meditation technique for pain management.
Right, something soothing. But what Sariputta actually offers here feels, well, incredibly radical to me. What does he actually tell him?
It really is an extraordinary teaching he gives. Sariputta offers this profound instruction, and it's all centered on this principle of non-clinging. In Pali, it's anupadana.
Non-clinging, okay.
And he basically gives Anāthapiṇḍika this refrain, this instruction to repeat and internalize over and over.
Oh.
You should train yourself thus, householder. I will not cling to X, nor will my consciousness be dependent on X.
I will not cling to X, nor will my consciousness be dependent on X. Okay, that sounds simple enough, maybe. But I'm guessing that X covers a lot of ground.
Oh, it absolutely does. He doesn't just say, don't cling to your pain or something like that.
Hmm.
Far from it. Sariputta systematically goes through, well, pretty much every single facet of our existence. He starts with the tools we use to perceive the world, the six sense basis.
So eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body.
And mind, even the mind itself.
Yeah, that, okay.
And then he moves to the things we perceive through those senses, the six sense objects. Forms, sounds, smells, tastes, physical sensations, and mental objects like thoughts or ideas.
Wow. So don't cling to seeing or what you see. Don't cling to hearing or what you hear, and so on.
Exactly. Don't cling to the act of experiencing, and don't cling to the things being experienced, or, crucially, the consciousness that arises because of that contact.
He's really leaving no stone unturned here, is he?
Yeah.
What's the deeper point of being so incredibly thorough, so systematic?
Well, he keeps going. He includes the consciousness associated with each sense, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, and so on. Then the contact itself, eye contact, ear contact. Then the feelings that arise from that contact, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral feelings stemming from seeing, hearing, touching.
So not just the raw input, but also our immediate reactions and feelings about it.
Precisely. And he doesn't stop there. He brings in what Buddhist thought considers the fundamental building blocks of reality, the six elements.
Elements like earth, water, fire, wind.
Yep. Those four plus the space element and, interestingly, the consciousness element itself. Don't cling to any of those fundamental constituents of reality.
Okay, this is getting seriously comprehensive.
And then the five aggregates, the khandhas. These are the components that make up our sense of self.
Right. Form, feeling, perception, mental formations.
And consciousness. The very things we tend to identify with as me or mine. Sariputta says, don't cling to any of them.
He's showing Anāthapiṇḍika that the potential for clinging, for attachment, is literally everywhere.
Yeah.
In every aspect of
Yeah,
experience.
everywhere. He even includes the highest meditative states, these formless, immaterial attainments like the base of infinite space or infinite consciousness, nothingness.
Even those refined states.
Even those. And he adds, don't cling to this world or the next world. Don't cling to concepts of future existence or current existence.
And then finally, this kind of ultimate catch-all instruction.
Exactly. The final one pulls it all together. Don't cling to whatever is seen, heard, sensed, cognized, sought, or pondered by the mind. Basically, don't cling to anything that enters your field of awareness.
It feels almost overwhelming in its scope when you lay it all out like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's the profound implication here? What's the core message Sariputta is trying to get across?
Yes. That's exactly why it's so radical. He's not offering a simple painkiller or a distraction. He's going right to the absolute root of suffering itself.
Okay.
He's essentially saying, look, the raw physical sensations, the pain signals in your body, those are undeniably real. They are happening.
Right.
But the suffering, the mental anguish, the despair, that comes from the clinging. It comes from identifying with the pain, from that desperate, I don't want this feeling, from the thought, this pain is happening to me and it's destroying me.
So it's a shift from trying to fix the external situation,
Right.
the pain itself, to changing your internal relationship to it.
Precisely. It's a fundamental shift in perspective.
That makes sense. It's almost like, that analogy of holding a hot coal,
Mm-hmm.
the heat, the burning sensation. That's real. That's the objective reality, like the physical pain.
Right.
But if you cling to it, if you grasp it tightly and refuse to let go, that's where the intense suffering comes in, and you get burned much worse. But if you just drop it, let go.
The sensation might linger for a moment, the heat is still there, but the active suffering, the self-inflicted part caused by the clinging, it ceases. You find relief not by changing the coal, but by changing your grip.
Changing your internal grip. I like that.
That's it. It's about letting go of that internal grasping, the identification, the craving for things to be different than they are right now. The pain is a sensation, but the suffering is largely our reaction, our clinging to or against that sensation.
Okay, so given this incredibly intense, comprehensive instruction on non-clinging, you might think Anāthapiṇḍika would react with, I don't know, a sense of calm, maybe profound peace.
Yeah, you might expect some kind of immediate transcendence.
But that's not what happens, is it? His reaction is actually, well, he weeps. Why do you think that is? Such an emotional response.
It's a really powerful moment, and it completely throws Venerable Ananda, who's also there.
Right, Ananda misunderstands.
Totally. Seeing the tears, Ananda immediately thinks Anāthapiṇḍika is losing heart, giving up or sinking down into despair. because of the pain or maybe the difficulty of the teaching.
But Anāthapiṇḍika corrects him, doesn't he? And this is where it gets really interesting.
Yes, he clarifies immediately. He says basically, no, Venerable Ananda, I'm not giving up. I'm not sinking down.
But, he says, for such a long time I have attended upon the teacher, the Buddha, and monks dear to the mind, yet I have never heard such a discourse on the Dhamma.
Think about that. He's been a top disciple, a major supporter, for decades probably, and he's never heard this.
And he explicitly says why or why he thinks he hasn't. He says such deep discourses usually do not occur to lay people clothed in white.
Meaning lay people like himself.
Right. He says they occur to monastics, people who've renounced the household life.
This points to a potential or at least perceived divide back then. Maybe certain profound teachings were often reserved for the monastic community, perhaps seen as more dedicated or capable of understanding them.
Which is fascinating in itself. But then this realization leads him to make this incredibly powerful plea, doesn't it? Right there on his deathbed.
It's incredibly moving. He turns to Sariputta and urges him, "Then, Venerable Sariputta, may such a discourse on the Dhamma occur also for householders clothed in white."
He's asking for this deep teaching to be shared more widely.
Exactly. He says, "For there are young men and implicitly women, people of good family with little dust in their eyes, who are declining because they have not heard the Dhamma, and who will be knowers of the Dhamma."
Little dust in their eyes, meaning people who are receptive, capable of understanding.
Yes, people whose vision isn't obscured, who have the potential to grasp these truths if only they could hear them. He's saying they are declining, perhaps spiritually or ethically, simply because they lack access to this level of teaching.
Wow. So in his final moments, his concern shifts from his own suffering to the potential liberation of others.
It's profoundly altruistic. He's experienced the power of this teaching firsthand, even amidst agony, and his immediate thought is, others need this too. He's advocating for the universality of the deepest Dhamma.
Challenging that perceived divide between monastic and lay practice.
Absolutely. He's saying this isn't just for the monks and nuns. This is for anyone with little dust in their eyes who's ready to engage with it. It's a layperson from the brink of death pushing for broader access to the most liberating insights. It's really quite remarkable.
It really is a testament to how deeply Sariputta's words affected him, that his focus became ensuring others could benefit.
Yeah.
So what happens next? We have this profound teaching, this emotional reaction, this plea for universality. What's the ultimate outcome for Anāthapiṇḍika?
Well, the sutta tells us that shortly after Sariputta and Ananda leave his residence, Anāthapiṇḍika passes away.
Okay.
And this is where the story takes this, well, extraordinary turn. It serves almost as a validation of the teaching he just received.
How so?
He isn't just gone. He is reborn in the Tusita heaven.
Tusita. That's considered a pretty high celestial realm, isn't it? Often associated with beings who've made significant spiritual progress, even future Buddhas.
Exactly. It signals a very positive rebirth, a direct result, the text implies, of his state of mind at death, influenced by Sariputta's teaching on non-clinging.
But the story doesn't even end there, does it?
No, it gets even more amazing. In the deep of the night, Anāthapiṇḍika, now transformed into a radiant Deva, a divine being, a kind of angel or god, visits the Buddha back at the Jetavana monastery.
The very monastery he built.
The very one. And his divine radiance is so brilliant, it illuminates the entire place.
Wow. And does he speak? Does this divine Anāthapiṇḍika have something to say?
He does. He speaks verses to the Buddha, verses that really summarize the core realization he seems to have attained.
What does he say?
He starts by praising Jetavana, expressing his joy, and praising the Buddha as the king of the Dhamma. Standard praise, perhaps, but then comes this really pivotal declaration, the absolute core message.
Okay, what is it?
He says, and this is the real aha moment, beings are purified. Basically meaning how beings reach liberation or a higher state, not by lineage or wealth dana.
Wait, not by family background or money. That's huge, coming from him.
Exactly. Coming from someone who had both in abundance. He's explicitly stating that his high birth and immense wealth were not the cause of his purification or his fortunate rebirth.
So what is the cause, according to this divine Anāthapiṇḍika?
He continues, beings are purified by kama, action, vijja, knowledge, dhamma, the teaching itself, and sila, morality, conduct.
Action, knowledge, the teachings, and ethical conduct. Those are the things that matter.
That's the path to purification, he declares. It's earned through how you live, what you understand, the principles you follow, not through accidents of birth or fortune.
That's incredibly powerful. It completely reframes value away from worldly status towards inner qualities and practice.
It really does, and he follows it up logically. Therefore, the wise person, seeing their own welfare, should properly examine the Dhamma, thus are they purified.
So if you want to be purified, if you want liberation, you need to investigate the teachings wisely. It connects understanding the Dhamma directly to purification.
Precisely. And then, perhaps most movingly, especially given the context, he specifically praises Sariputta.
The one who gave him the teaching.
Yes. He praises Sariputta's wisdom, virtue, and tranquility and says something like, any monk who has crossed over, who has reached the other shore, meaning enlightenment or a very high stage, they'd be just like him.
Wow, that's an incredible endorsement from a divine being, directly confirming the quality and efficacy of Sariputta and his teaching.
It really is. It's a direct testimonial delivered from a celestial realm about the monk who guided him in his final hours.
And how does the Buddha react to all this?
Well, later, the Buddha recounts this entire visit from the radiant deva to the assembled monks.
He tells them what happened.
Yes. And Venerable Ananda, listening with his sharp memory and insight, puts two and two together. He infers, given the visitor's praise for Jetavana and particularly his deep faith and praise for Sariputta, that it must have been Anāthapiṇḍika.
And the Buddha confirms it.
The Buddha confirms it explicitly. He says, essentially, you got it, Ananda. Anāthapiṇḍika was that deva, no other. It perfectly closes the loop. The teaching was given, the student passed away, attained a high rebirth, and came back to confirm the path and praise the guide.
It really provides this narrative proof, doesn't it, of the transformative power of that teaching on non-clinging.
Absolutely.
So let's just quickly recap. We followed Anāthapiṇḍika's journey from that place of almost unimaginable physical agony.
Right, the sword, the strap, the knife, the coals.
To receiving this profound, radical teaching on non-clinging from Sariputta. Clinging to nothing, not senses, objects, consciousness elements, aggregates, worlds, not anything seen, heard, sensed, or thought.
A truly comprehensive letting go.
Which led not to despair, but to tears of profound understanding and a plea for this wisdom to be shared more widely. And ultimately culminating in his peaceful death, a celestial rebirth, and that divine visit back to the Buddha.
Where he delivers that key message. Purification comes from our actions, our understanding, our ethics, our engagement with the Dhamma, not from our social standing or bank balance.
So the key takeaways here feel pretty clear. First, the incredible power of non-clinging to lessen, maybe even transform, our suffering, even when the physical cause, the pain, is immense.
It shifts the focus from the unavoidable sensation to the avoidable reaction of suffering.
Second, the universal relevance of this deep spiritual wisdom. Anāthapiṇḍika himself, on his deathbed, argued passionately that these teachings are for everyone ready to hear them, not just a select few.
Yeah, breaking down that perceived barrier between lay and monastic practice.
And third, the enduring impacts of genuine practice, ethical conduct, wisdom, understanding the Dhamma over purely external factors like how wealthy you are or what family you were born into.
Yeah. The Devaputta's verses make that crystal clear.
Absolutely. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to maybe reflect on. A final provocative thought for you, the listener.
Okay.
Considering Anāthapiṇḍika's final plea for the deepest Dhamma to be shared widely with lay people, and then his immediate positive rebirth, what does that suggest about the connection between really engaging deeply with these truths, even right at the end of life, and the ongoing journey of consciousness?
That's a deep question. The link between state of mind at death and rebirth is central in Buddhist thought.
Right. And maybe more practically, how might you, listening now, start to apply, even in small ways, that core principle Sariputta taught? That idea of not clinging to all that is seen, heard, sensed, cognized, sought, or pondered by the mind.
Yeah, how could you practice that letting go in your own daily life?
Whether you're facing huge challenges right now or just navigating the ordinary ups and downs, how might that principle change your experience?
Something definitely worth pondering.